Hey everyone, Random Randy here. This is going to be Vlogmas for Sunday, December 17th, 2017. I'm going to give you all a quick little update about how the night market went in Seattle, and then I'm going to show you briefly what my table setup at home looked like and what it looked like when I got there, because apparently either I misunderstood or it wasn't clearly communicated. Either way, I got there and only had room for one table rather than two, so I had a bunch of stuff that I didn't get to put out. Even though I put out a few pieces of it, I did not have space for everything. So, I really didn't sell much other than toys, amigurumi, and a few character hats. I sold a kid-sized Pokeball hat, also the Mr. Meeseeks hat that I had made, that I had worn before, that I was kind of hoping wouldn't sell because I kind of wanted to keep it, but whatever, I can always make myself another one. And I sold several octopi, and the pink kitty cat hatchling that I made went home with the pink camo octopus. So that's pretty much it. All of those things together, I ended up just barely breaking even on what I paid to be there because my phone is old. It was a new to me phone when I got it several years ago, so it wasn't even a new phone then. It was already a used, refurbished phone at that point. And I couldn't take any credit cards, which was a really big kick in the teeth because I lost about $60 worth of sales because I couldn't take credit cards. But it's all done now, and everything in the universe went wrong on the way there. I'm glad I left early because my phone decided that the GPS wasn't going to function at all. So I had to drive back to the house after I was already about 10 minutes down the road and download the map to get there before I could leave. And there were 3 accidents on the highway on the way there, so a trip that normally would take about an hour, luckily I left early, ended up taking closer to 2 hours when the estimated time when I started out was about an hour and a half. I got there at 7 o'clock. No, I got there at 7:20. Setup time was supposed to start at 7 o'clock. Got there at 7:20. It took me about 20 minutes to find a spot to park my car because there was no parking anywhere near it. And then I had to take all the time to walk down, to tell them I was there, and then go back and get my car and come in so they could load all my stuff. Then, after getting all my stuff in, it took me another 15 minutes to go find somewhere to park my car a second time because someone had taken the spot that I was parked in previously. And then I got in there and was still finishing setting up as people were walking in at about 8:20, even though the doors weren't supposed to open for customers until 8:30. Had a lot of people look at stuff. I had a lot of people who wanted to talk crochet and knitting, and that was pretty cool. I met a lot of interesting people. As far as selling stuff goes, not so fantastic. Like I said, I barely broke even, which I guess isn't really that bad. All things considered, I could have not made any money. But I was really hoping to do a bit better. I was not surprised that the octopi sold the way that they did. And I had one little girl who took the itty bitty teeny tiny rainbow narwhal that was part of the original set of 4 that I did when I was testing out my pattern. I didn't get to make any other narwhals to take with me, but the narwhals and the octopi, along with Zero, were by far the most talked about things I had at my table. So I think when I do craft shows in the future, I'm going to be scaling back on the amount of apparel that I have, because apparently hats aren't a big buying thing here unless they're a character hat. And that's whatever. I mean, lots of people had dreads and wigs and all sorts of crazy hair stuff going on. But this show, it was a good environment. I liked the people I was near. We were all pretty peppy when we got there. But by the time it got to be 1:30, we were all pretty much zombies and dead on our feet. like I said, it was fun. I did have a good time. I do have a short little clip that I recorded just of my table. I don't think I caught any people in it. I was trying not to just catch random passersby, but you will hear how loud the music was. It was pretty loud. But it was, I would say that it was a win. It was a decent event. There was a pretty good turnout for the first few hours, but once it hit about 12:30, it was pretty much dead. We kind of had a post-bar crawl flood of people that lasted for about 20 minutes, but most of them were lookers and unfortunately only had credit cards. None of them had cash at that point, which was a bummer because there was one girl who was looking at the stuffed candy corn that I had. Because I took them with me, I figured why not take them and set them up. Maybe somebody will want them for Halloween stuff for next year. Maybe somebody just really, really likes candy corn. Who knows? But I'm hoping that I'll be able to find something a little more local that's not quite as expensive once it gets closer to spring. I know that there's a farmer's market in Lakewood, which is a town, I want to say it's bigger than a town. I believe it's called a town, but I would call it a small city. It's about the size of Watertown back home in New York, where I'm from. So it has like an urban center, but then it's mostly suburban sprawl spread out with some strip malls here and there. Whatever. But I feel like maybe getting a booth there or having a bunch of toys and maybe some tops would be good for maybe 1 or 2 test runs this summer. But I went through all of the stuff that I had and everything that I took with me to the show, because I took everything. I had all the blankets that Adam and I edged. I had all of my tops. Everything that I've made in the bins went with me. And I went through everything yesterday. That's why I didn't end up posting yesterday, because I spent most of the day in here organizing stuff. As you can see, the background is a little bit different because I have the big table open again here, so I have more space to work, more storage underneath it, so things are a lot less cluttered. I went through and tossed some things that were in the closet that I knew I was never going to use. I put together a bunch of stuff to donate. I took a lot of the hats and baby size things that people look at but never buy and just clipped the bottom off of the tag that had the price on it, so it still has the care information in case people are interested, and put them all in bags to donate. I also am getting rid of my big large peg round loom and the long looms because I just didn't like the way that they worked. I don't have enough bulky yarn to make them worth it, and I don't like doubling up yarn and working with that little hook thingy. Not a fan of it. So those are getting donated so somebody will be able to appreciate them. So I about halved what I had for adult hats by taking a bunch of my really old stuff that wasn't selling, that isn't getting views on Etsy. It's time to let it go. And I took a bunch of other things that weren't really good to donate, so I figured I could reclaim the yarn. I now have 2 giant bags of stuff under the table that I'm going to be frogging eventually and making into other things. But it seems like I'm becoming more and more of a toy maker, which is a very strange thing to me. But I enjoy it. As long as I enjoy doing it, I have no problem making more of them, especially when it's also giving me a little bit of monetary kickback. So while I was at the show, which I couldn't tell because I had no internet on my phone, somebody bought Zero, not at the show, but somebody through my Etsy store purchased this little guy, so I'm going to be getting him in a box so I can send him out tomorrow in the mail, so he'll be on his way and hopefully get there before Christmas. And while I was at the show, I finished putting this guy together. I used the Red Heart Super Saver, I believe it's mistletoe yarn. It's just their red, white, and green holiday yarn. And I had made the head at home and finished up the tentacles and sewed them on while I was there. I also finished up the gray hatchling at the show. I just made little wings and made a little beak with some yellow scrap yarn that I had. It turned out super cute. Those teeny tiny toys are what people noticed, and I had a lot of people hug the largest narwhal. Like, they wanted to just run away with it. So, like I wanted to this time, but didn't, and I should have gone with my gut. I will definitely have more toys next time and less apparel. I'll still have some. I'll still have the ones I've already made. But I'm definitely going to be scaling back production on things like hats and cowls. I think those are going to be things that I'll make for friends and family, but I don't think I'm going to be selling a lot of them anymore. So, other stitchy work. I made this little voodoo doll yesterday. I kind of wish I would have had some of these at the show because I think they would have done pretty well. Super cute. This is done with bonbon print yarn that was scraps from an old hat that I took apart. It's got a big safety eye here and little eyelashes and the white eye. I don't know if you'll be able to see because my lighting is crap today. But this eye is actually made with a glitter yarn and it's got a little smiley stitched on mouth. And as you can see, it's about hand-sized. I took somebody else's pattern for something like this and just modified it, changed the row counts, because the head is supposed to be about twice the size that it is, and I don't like the way that looks, so I just went with this. I kind of wish that I would have put the legs on the front so that it would sit rather than standing, but it's still pretty cute as it is. So I'll probably be making some more of these with the scrap that I pulled. Will be pulling from all of the stuff I'm going to be frogging in the next couple of weeks. And last night, as I was sitting here, I worked on my sweater. Because today I have to draw up a plan for one of the stuffed animals. Hunter has been pestering me to make him for the last couple of weeks. I want to have it for him by Christmas. So I worked on my sweater. Got this much done of the second panel. I was about 4 rows into the black part of the ribbing, and now I'm a decent chunk of the way in. So maybe by Christmas I'll actually have myself a sweater to wear. If I keep working on it, if I put in a couple inches every day until then, I might actually be able to get it done. Because the sleeves, looking at the pattern for the sleeves, that won't take me too terribly long. I'm pretty quick when it comes to smaller things in the round like that, so that should be easy. But I guess that's really it. As you can see, I have a ton of crap on the table here behind me that I'm still working on organizing. But moving things around the way that I have, it's now much easier to get to all of my yarn that's stored beneath here. I got a lot of things organized yesterday. Hello, kitty cat. So now there's a lot more space in here too, so that when the kids come in here, they won't be tripping over things to get to me. Because as you know, when you have a small craft room, if you even have a crafting space at all that's not just your couch or wherever you're sitting, when you work on things, stuff accumulates and it just kind of builds and builds and builds, and next thing you know, you're buried in mountains of yarn and stuff. So I guess that's really all I have to talk about for this one. Going to insert a clip of what my table setup looked like while I was at home, which is how I anticipated setting it up when I got there and then didn't have as much space as I thought I would. And I'll show you the clip of what it looked like with the crazy DJ meditative music playing in the background. Which, by the way, was super hard not to fall asleep to. Even the bouncier songs kind of made me want to just curl up in a ball under my table with my big puffy coat and just take a nap. But anyway, I want to let you know that obviously I got home in one piece. I know a bunch of you are on my Facebook or in my Facebook group, so you already know that I arrived home safe at about 3:30 in the morning. And I guess that's really it. So I want to say thank you again so much everybody for watching, and I will catch you all in the next video, hopefully tomorrow. I'll catch you next time, guys. Bye. figuring out where to put the tops, where to put the amigurumi, and then getting the small table out to set up the blankets, but I don't really need to do that now. I'll just take the time to clear it off and know that that's where the blankets are gonna go. Oh my lord. So it is much later than I would like it to be, but it's finally all set up. This is what I'm looking at. Here's all the hats.
Guys, mommy's trying to talk to the camera.
Oh my lord. Yeah, children, hush. Husha husha.
So which one of the big helpers is going to hit?
Okay, so here's all the grown-up hats. Got all the kid hats down on the table. Got all the cowls, all the stuffed critters on the table. Got all the tops hanging. Got my hand-dyed yarn and a bin full of washcloths. All the blankets are over here on the table. And I have my mannequin, and buried in here are the two heads. So that's what I'm looking at right now, and now I'm gonna get everything all packed up and put away and maybe catch a nap for like an hour because it's 3 o'clock right now. But after dealing with some lovely kid art on walls and a whole bunch of other things, I'm pretty happy with how it looks. And I gotta go take some pictures so I can set it up and we're good to go.